chat, please. All the chat jam for Pulseman while we get transitioned over.
Alright, you'll be up now.
Alright, so from the beginning, I ran this game, Pulseman here, a few months back before Summer Games Done Quick, and there's been some new things that I sort of found, somewhat by complete accident, and as well as some theory crafting and some research, and you're gonna see a number of things different from that run a couple months ago. So yeah, time for this game actually starts on the first frame of movement, but there's only one stage that we can select among the first 3 levels here that can actually possibly, you know, determine that first frame of movement, and that is stage Japan. So I'm gonna select Japan now, and yeah, we'll get time started once I gain control of Pulseman, and I'll give that countdown properly. So 3, 2, 1, go. A little off there. So the thing with Pulseman here, he's got one particular ability, and it's to do with the ability you just saw there, which is called the Voltecker. And what it does is it launches me forward and diagonally up. And this allows me to get to higher ground, and it has this added bonus of being able to ricochet off of any... it's able to carry infinitely so long as I ricochet off a wall, a floor, or a ceiling. But in order to get that height, I need to be in an electrified state, which I can do by either dashing for an extended period of time, or running for an extended period of time, or by tapping a direction twice, which I aptly call the double dash. And sometimes it doesn't work, but usually it'll work. So the important thing about choosing this stage first, on top of the fact that it's the only stage we can determine first frame of movement, is the boss of this stage is actually very, very random, but it's manipulatable. And how it's manipulatable is that his pattern is predetermined by the total number of points in the score tally in the top right corner there. So I want to hold on to this 400 points. This is the typical default, or this is the typical score that I want going into this fight, because I'm very used to this particular pattern. And that was a very, very clean section of the PWT network. And we're on to the boss. So, this virtual hand, this is... I call this Ghetto Sigma, or Ghetto Sigma's hand, but I'm gonna fight him up here, and that's so I can get optimal hits every time this hand comes from the top. And this is where the fake out comes. I know that fake out's gonna happen on the left side there, because, again, as I said before, the boss's pattern is predetermined by the total score entering the fight. So that was a very clean fight. So after each and every stage in the game, there is a bonus stage tied to it, aside from the final stage of the game. And they are forced, and all of them are going to be completed. Yeah, so here's the thing. Back at SGDQ, I mentioned about how there was at least some of the bonus stages that caused too much lag to be worth doing. That is no longer true. They are all now worth doing, and so it actually turns out that the bonus stages in this game are perhaps the biggest run killer of the entire game. You wouldn't think it, but there is a lot of layers of optimizing the routes when it comes to the bonus stages, and it was a pretty big find when I found out I could actually get away with doing all of them. So now we're going to so let's talk about Stage USA. Here's another thing I found recently. There is a faster kill with this guy, and it's very tough to do. And we got it. Very nice. So, if you run into the boss and hit with the uncharged Voltecker, which is when you aren't charged up and use the Voltecker button, you'll activate iframes and walk into the boss's hitbox there, and then you get another uncharged Voltecker on him, right in his hitbox. It'll drop his arm, and that's when he's almost done. Like, he's only a few more hits away from being dealt with, and he'll just run away. So just a few more key punches, and you can finish him off on the very right side of the screen there, and that's the optimal way of doing that fight. It saves roughly about 4 seconds, I think, over the old strat where you just jump behind him and just spam uncharged Voltecker and chain combo him with that.
And
But
do we
getting
have time
back-
for a donation?
Yeah, time for a donation.
Great, we got a $5 donation in from Jen that says, thanks to the efforts of Pulseman, the case was completely solved.
The case was completely solved. Yeah, so that Voltecker there is pretty tight, but and we're gonna probably have other moments like that with some Voltecker uses. This is sort of the point in the run where the Voltecker uses start to be pretty precise. That one in particular probably was done a little bit late. Yeah, I'm gonna ricochet off there. Very minor loss though. The next screen, though, is actually a very important one, and it's kind of a strange one to understand, but there's a certain block I want to break here. I didn't break, so now I'm going to have a lot of this lag happen. I don't know why it causes it, but that's kind of what happens. If there's this certain block that I have to break, and that allows me to mitigate a bunch of lag by breaking it. Whoops. Well, we messed up that fight, and I almost died for it, but that's okay. Yeah, he's not really a big deal. Do we have time? Is there any other donations? Because we have some time now.
Not at the moment, but I do want to mention the upcoming milestones, which we are getting really close to, guys. We're just shy of 86% towards the Mario Kart Wii category extension milestone. And then right after that, the Celeste on 2 DDR pads input display. Oh my god, we gotta see that. And then if you're keeping up on any of the bid wars going on right now, Pretty Soldier Sailor Moon. We've got both Sailor Moon and Sailor Mercury gonna be played. And then also for Mario Kart, we do have a bid war going on. Nothing yet. It would be item rain, outside drifting bikes only, off-road only, and carts only. So guys, get those bid wars in, get those donations in, and let's put it towards a great cause.
Let's get it. Alright, so now we move on to India here. This is typically supposed to be the second stage, like they say it's stage 2, and it's pretty fitting for a stage 2. This is where we are introduced to the element of the steel bars, which we can kind of latch onto and be dragged towards. There's going to be actually a bit of a maze here for this climb, and you don't want to latch on too quickly or the screen will completely darken. It's a really odd glitch, and I think the task does do it, and it's yeah, you don't want to do it. It's very tough to memorize that entire screen there. Maybe one day I might figure it out and pull something off like that and do it all blind, but we're not to that point yet. Not with this run anyway. Rest of the stage is kind of pretty straightforward, but the main reason this stage can be it can be a bit of a run killer stage of sorts is for 2 reasons: the boss fight and the bonus stage. For the boss fight in particular, there's like a quick kill that you can do, a 1 cycle quick kill, and there's a number of factors for that allow you to be able to pull that off. But we're not there just yet, so if you have anything else to say, any donations that have come pouring in since, now's your time to get them. Red.
I mean, guys, we can do some cat jams. Some cat jam train in the chat and through donation train. Can I get some cat jam donation train going, guys, for Pulseman?
Alright, so we're coming up to the boss here now. And yeah, you can just veer over that ceiling. Kind of, yeah, I guess I'll explain that in a little bit. So this boss here... Oh. Okay, well, we messed it up big time. However, the thing with this... Like, how you get this one cycle here... You have to activate your Voltecker while you're standing on solid ground, and it causes an initial burst of damage. With that initial burst of damage, you can get 3 Volteckers off and completely kill the boss before he buries underground the first time. Unfortunately, we failed that, but that's okay. Here comes the other big run killer in the stage. Let's see if we pull it off. This is a task strat. Very nice. Not perfect. A 49 is all right, though. A high 49. Usually, what I want to shoot for is a low 50. But still really good. And that is all the first 3 selectable stages done. So we're out of the early game and into the latter half of the game. And we're going to start with Thailand. Thailand being stage 4, so, you know, not too scary of a level overall, but we do want to select it first of the 4 selectable stages, and that's because it contains, at least to the point I've pushed this game now, I guess I would argue it's the biggest run killer now, and that would be, yes, the bonus stage. I mentioned how in the past that bonus stages in the latter half of the game are usually not worth doing. And in the case of Thailand, that's because there's so much lag that goes on in that bonus stage that in order to draw even with just doing nothing in the bonus stage, I have to actually get something like 14 seconds remaining on the timer if I complete with a perfect. Like, the window is very not generous with that bonus stage. Also, that screen was very, very difficult. I made it look easy. It's not easy at all. But now we have a little bit of time to relax here because this climb is not really too bad as long as I do exactly the same thing as always.
And we do have a few donations in if I've got time.
You do. Go ahead.
All right. We've got a $5 donation from RL that says, "Woo! Let's go, d4rg0n."
What's up, RL?
And another $5 donation from Jen that says, "What? Water can destroy Pulseman?" Ha 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 ha. And he also says, "Stop talking when I'm trying to time his donations."
Water can destroy Pulseman. Yeah, a lot of people love that cutscene. That line is immortalized in this game above all others. Alright, so that was a bit late, so I'm gonna have to cancel out of that. This screen has some pretty tricky Volteckers, but very minimal time loss with the tougher of the two. So that was still a pretty alright room. Oh, this jump is a little tricky though. Sometimes momentum of jumps don't always favor you, and you gotta retry them again. All right, here's another pretty big run killer moment. Okay, that I will accept. So yeah, pretty tight window transferring between each of those green balls there. What they tend to do once you latch onto them is the camera starts to go completely bonkers, and it's hard to actually navigate with once you latch onto them, because then the camera just starts gyrating up and down, and it's really hard to know to pinpoint exactly when you're supposed to press the button and go the correct direction. It's not very abundantly clear, so it was really good that I got out of that section really, really crisp and clean. So this next screen, as well as the boss, not really a big deal. So not sure if there is any other donations, although I guess I haven't really explained the uncharged Voltecker too much. So I guess I'll take the time to actually explain that while we're coming up to the boss here. But every time you use this ability, the uncharged Voltecker, it does cause a lot of iframes, and you're just able to park yourself inside a boss. And yeah, you can just destroy bosses like that, and that boss was yet another casualty of that. It's not often something that I can abuse on a lot of fights, but the few that I can abuse it on, they are pretty free. Now here's the big run killer moment. This bonus stage is rough, so I'm just gonna be quiet here and focus. Do not want to fall here. Okay. Oh. He's the thing I want. Thank you. Yeah, you can see all this lag. Makes it really difficult to justify actually doing it. Very nice. A 21 timer finish is really, really good for this bonus stage. I will take that. So like I said, to draw even with just not doing it at all, I'd have to match 14 seconds on the timer, or I will lose time from that point onward. So that was really good. That was really, really good. Now, let's talk about this evil level. This is Australia, and anyone who has ever played this game knows this stage. They hate this stage precisely for one particular screen, and that's the next one coming up here. In the speedrun, it's easily the most technical level of the game, and I definitely would say it's not even close now because of new tech that I have found in some various rooms. As for now, though, we have this descent underwater, and it's very important I jump in the air and start descent and just falling like this, because this is the fastest way I can fall in underwater. I don't really understand why, but that's how it works. And it's important I don't get hit, nor do I want to land on anything. I want to actually get to the very bottom of the screen without touching anything. I can touch the side of stuff as long as it's not an actual hazard. But
okay, but the water doesn't kill or hurt him in the underwater level?
Yeah, I know. He's able to survive underwater. That's why the cutscene is kind of special. Water doesn't really destroy Pulseman. It just gets rid of his electrical state if it's actually charged up. That's what the cutscene's supposed to be getting at. Right, so this screen here is actually probably the scariest in the level, at least in my opinion, because some of the speed tech... Yeah, well, yes. First, there is the dolphins. The other reason is there is a lot of pits, and some of these Voltecker uses are going to look pretty sketch. I'm going to actually do a bit of safety for this next one coming up here, because usually I do die here. Oh, I did it. I broke out too early, so I did, in fact, die on this screen. So we're going to have to do it again. Figured that I would die here, just like it did at SGDQ. This time, though, it happened a bit earlier, so it's not as big of a time loss this time. I will try again, though. Yeah, unfortunately, there's just parts of this screen, too, where you're kind of just waiting on platforms, and it's kind of auto-scrollery in that sense as well. And of course, playing it safe also means waiting on these platforms as well, and you don't want to do that. That's a lot of time you're kind of throwing away. There we go. All right, got the dash speed, so that's what the screen is supposed to look like. But yeah, like I said, pretty scary screen, but we got through it in the end. Now that we're past the that scary screen, though, we're now moving on to the actual really technical parts of Australia here, beginning with this screen here. And sorry, everyone, for this really disorienting background. It is absolutely not pleasant on the eyes, I'm sure. And the next screen is going to be even worse than that. So if you are sensitive to stuff like that, you probably might want to look away for maybe like a minute or so, or at least until this track actually is over. But it is actually important, this particular screen, in the fact that there is a couple really tight volt ticker uses here. A couple of tight spaces I got to squeeze through here with this climb right here. So I'm, again, going to have to focus just a bit here.
Well, we did get a $5 donation in from DDG that says, another ticker for the ooh-woo train. And I wanted to say that Sonic looks super good in that suit of armor.
Hey, I was expecting actually a joke about this guy looking like knockoff Mega Man mixed with Pikachu. And
Yeah, I was thinking Mega Man.
Yeah. The Mega Man I definitely can see. As for why Pikachu, I mean, you got the Voltecker that looks like the Voltackle, and you know this is a Game Freak game, which, if in case you don't know, Game Freak made Pokemon as well. All right, so this screen is one of the hardest screens in the game. Let's see if we can do this right.
Bright flashing lights everywhere.
Oh my goodness, this was a perfect screen. This was a perfect screen. Yeah, so the torpedo room here, so you see the villain is actually in the foreground there, and I'm off in the background there. But that screen is incredibly difficult to do perfectly, and I just did it perfectly. So that was insane. Very, very rare occasion you see a perfectly done screen there, even when I do actual attempts, so that was awesome. And that's pretty much Stage Australia. We now move on to the boss here, and there's a nuance with this fight. So sometimes he'll shoot this torpedo periodically, and we gotta fire back 5 of them at him, and sometimes they don't properly connect. And that one might be one such instance of not properly connecting. I'm also low on health, which is a bit scary. I cannot take another hit here because I do not want to die. Okay, good. So that was the 5th torpedo. We did actually connect with all those hits, but sometimes there is a possibility where the hits won't connect. And it can wind up going through 2 or even 3 extra hits needed to finish him off. But we made it. All right, so this is a really tricky bonus stage to do as well. And we needed a very precise spot to launch Pulseman here in order to break many of these blocks here and get set up to finish off the remainder of the blocks remaining, which is just these 3. Well, now down to just 1, and that was a very beautiful Australia bonus stage. And that's how you complete the perfect there.
And we do have a donation.
Go ahead, you got some time.
A $5 donation from Jen that says, last donation, USD drains my Aussie bank account, but Pulseman, d4rg0n, and the cause are worth every cent.
It sure is.
Thank you so much, Jen.
Thank you very much. All right, so you make sure to tell me, though, if there's any more donations, because you will definitely have time to do them in this stage, because, yeah, Alaska, not much going on here. This climb here is a pretty tricky one, but as long as you know the route, it gets easier with time to be able to know how to properly climb here. So so we typically leave this stage last because it's not really nearly on the same level of run killers, such as Thailand's bonus stage or Australia as a level in general. So why do we... But there is some things that are difficult, but we're not going to really encounter such difficult parts of Alaska until quite a bit into the game, or quite a bit into the level. Actually, pretty much not until the very end of it. So there's a lot to actually talk about with the boss of this stage. So last time I actually did this at SGDQ, I didn't really have a route ironed out to actually pull off the fight with this boss that is aptly known as Vale. And if you don't know who Vale is, he is supposedly the faker type of enemy, where he has the exact same abilities as you. So yeah, you're gonna see a lot of Voltecker going round and round in the room that I'm gonna be fighting him at. But how the fight basically works is we need to clash our Volteckers together and cause an epileptic fight of flashing white, and this will put him in hit stun. And while he's in hit stun, I gotta hit him again to actually register damage onto him. And I gotta do this, I believe, 9 times in the fight. But there is a couple things that to know about the fight to actually have a fast fight with them. So every time he lands after utilizing Voltecker, or, you know, lands from hit stun or from taking a hit, he'll just stand there for a bit before warming up his next Voltecker. So every time he does this, I think you're waiting like 5 seconds. But there's ways to actually cut off that waiting time. And those ways of cutting down the waiting time come in the form of A, throwing a flash arrow at him, which is the electrical projectile attack, to instantly charge him, or by continuing your Voltecker as, you know, while he's about to land, and this will immediately make him warm up his Voltecker state. And that's what we're going to try to abuse here. This is easily the hardest fight of the game. So, again, this is another moment where I'm going to be quiet. If there is another donation, you are free to read it.
No new donations yet, but I do just want to reiterate the Mario Kart Wii category extension upcoming milestone in a few hours, and then as well as our continual support for the Pretty Soldier Sailor Moon character bid war, as well as the Mario Kart Wii category extension. Get those bids in, guys. Get those bids in.
Oh my goodness, we might just have a perfect fight! Yes! So that is the perfect fight with Vale. I made that look easy. It is absolutely not easy. And I wish I could take the time to explain why it's not, but we're coming up to the bonus stage of Alaska, and this is probably the hardest one to do properly, and the hardest one to save time in, so this is another moment of serious time. Oh no. Okay, yeah, yep. We're just gonna have to abandon that. That's unfortunate. Any sort of mistake at that point is, yeah. It's not possible to save time anymore. So we're just gonna let the timer run down. A little unfortunate, I choked, and I was too far to the right with the green platform when I began to start breaking the right side there.
But you got a perfect boss kill.
I got the perfect boss kill, and that's all that matters. No, I would have actually really liked to have gotten the perfect in Alaska stage, but again, the best thing you can do if you screw up in the Alaska bonus stage is to just stop the bonus stage and just let the timer run down. It is what it is. Maybe next time I run this for a marathon, I'll try to get it perfect. But until then, we have the final stage of the game. No more bonus stages, folks. That's it. We're done with the bonus stages. Instead, we got this incredibly long final stage. And why it's incredibly long? Well, hey, we got a 5-minute long auto-scroller. So, if there was any time we wanted Donation Train, this is the time. Because there's not much to say.
Can we get a donation, $5 donation train going, some cat jams in the chat? Going towards an amazing cause, the Equal Justice Initiative, which is committed to ending mass incarceration and excessive punishment in the United States, to challenge radical and economic injustice, and to protecting basic human rights for the most vulnerable people in American society. Can I see a spam of cat jam in chat? And get one of those cat jam hype trains going.
Well, in the meantime, while we wait for more donations, though, I will say, casually speaking, when I first tried to play this game, there was a part of this screen that angered me very much a lot, and it's coming up here. So yeah, all those meteors, any one of them hits me, either I fall off into the abyss on the left side of where I was standing, or I just get put into a position where I just cannot get out of, and I get smushed by the auto scroller itself because I couldn't Voltec her off the top side there like I did properly. And that was often a spot where I would die, and yeah, that was the other area that I very much had bad memories of when I first started playing this game. Never again, though.
In chat for you.
Oh.
It reads, I just noticed, but how are you supposed to get the high score that's listed in the game there?
Well, you see, there is a very simple answer to this. You could... I mean, you have to understand, you just gotta be part of an illegal organization and cheat the system. After all, we are fighting the Galaxy Gang. So, I mean, I haven't actually explained the story, but we're fighting a sort of a cyber terrorist organization that's kind of led by a guy named Dr. Wakayama. And he's going to be the final villain at the end of this, and he actually was the one that morphed into this arcade machine, and we're actually following him. But yeah, this score is basically skewed. You're never going to be able to get this kind of a score. And of course, with a name like Galaxy Gang, you know, I'd make a joke about Twin Galaxies, but I think that might be just a bit tasteless, so I'm not going to. But as far as score, though, I think knowing now that we are able to complete all the bonus stages, I'd like to eventually see some interest in possibly doing a score run myself, at least. Like, figure out a way to route out for a possible high score run.
We do have another donation that came in.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jen just can't get enough of you. We got a $5 donation from Jen that says, surprise! Love you, Deck. Ooh.
Ooh. Thank you very much. Alright, so this is now the fourth and final screen of the auto-scroller. We're past pretty much the ones that are gonna kill us. This is the one, though, that typically tends to lag, but we do have ways of controlling it. by way of kicking at these turrets. And there's also these blocks that we want to hit, really only two at a time, unless of course they're white, because I don't know why. And yeah, you saw the lag right there as I proceed to not do as I said I was going to do. But yeah, the name of the game, at least with the auto-scroller, is try to mitigate the lag somewhat. And we're gonna actually venture up here and walk along the ceiling. Which I guess I haven't actually talked about that. But yeah, there's various points in the game where I actually just run across the ceiling. That's not really a glitch. Like, anyone can literally just run up there. And if you hadn't noticed... Oh, actually, let me just focus here. Nice, got the quick kill. If you had noticed in the stage Thailand, there was a 1-up I passed by as I was running across the ceiling, or atop the ceiling. And you can't get that 1-up without going up there that way. So that's when you know it's not a glitch. So don't panic, people. I have not been doing glitchy things in this glitchless run. Everything that I have done was intended as such. Alright, but we are now done with the auto-scroller, so we're actually now on to the real part of the level. Ooh, this is a bad situation, yeah. I should have just used the Voltecker there. It's okay, we'll try again. Sometimes this particular screen has a way of making you clip through the floor, and when that happens, you're just gonna die because there is no pits at the bottom. If that ends up happening, oh boy. Yeah, I'm messing this up quite a bit. Took it safe though this time, so this time I didn't die for it. And now we come to pretty tough climb here. But I do have a bit of a route, as long as I time these Volteckers properly. And yeah, these water enemies are back. So, going back to the whole water can destroy Pulseman thing, those water enemies, like I said, the water in this game just gets rid of your Voltec charge, or Voltecker charge, and that includes these enemies here, these water enemies that are trying to chase me down, or flank me down. So, that's kind of the name of the game with them. They're just trying to impede on my progress. And this screen, yeah, not much to really say about it. It's really just a gimmicky screen where once the lines are fully off, you can't, your Volteckers are blind. But as long as but if they are lit up, they're not blind. It's kind of hard to explain without actually playing the game.
I guess a synth wave, like, craziness.
Yeah. Alright, so this boss here is actually very different from all the others in that we're using a completely different ability here, which is the flip kick. Often not really used because it's not very strong at all. In fact, it's very, very weak. But against these things, it still kills in a single hit. So we opt to use it because it gives us a lot of iframes. And we're almost done with it. There is a fight right afterwards, though, and it's a very short fight. So yeah, we're coming up to the end of the run here, and time is going to be pretty short. Going to come pretty shortly here, at probably about 20 seconds or something like that. But it's going to be on the final hit of the left hand up to the side. Each of these hands should take only 3 Volteckers. By the way, really horrible screen here. Don't look at the screen at all if you hate bright flashing lights. Alright, and that's time.
GG, amazing job for running that.
Thank you, thank you. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Pulseman done glitchless. So if you want to know There is why there's two different categories. There's a pretty famous little glitch. Well, I shouldn't really say famous when we were talking about this game, but the glitch has been known for years. They call it skids, and they really break the game really, really badly. Like, you go through walls with it, because the speed you go at is so great that the game just cannot handle it. So yeah, that's why there's been the need for two different categories. And with that, I don't really have anything else to say. Did we get any more donations? Or are we ready?
d4rg0n, that was an amazing run. Thank you so much for showing off Pulseman. I really, really enjoyed that. And all the GGs and hyperclaps and cat jams in chat.
Thanks everyone who donated. Who donated to the train, the cat jam trade. And with that, I got nothing else to say. So good luck to the next runner. And you all have enjoyed the rest of the marathon.
Thank you. A few words about our sponsors available. So Chasing Rats Games is proud to team up with NoReset Games to bring to their critically acclaimed debut game Struggling, dedicated to speedrun and practice modes. An update for Steam is coming soon, and the Switch version update should be coming later this year. Keep an eye out for the specials showcase on Saturday.
Sorry, I missed the sub timer here.
Am I good to cut the stream on my end?
Wait a sec, my microphone is back on. Okay, sorry, I had trouble with my microphone.
Okay.
Alright, we'll go to a transition scene. Thanks for your run, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.